Welcome back to another episode of Make the Cut with Ochs Napo, presented by Wisconsin Sports Heroics. I am Ochs, he is Napo, and as always, we are pleased to bring you another rendition of the podcast here. Napo, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I am doing great. I'm a little tired. I had a long night and I woke up too early, but we're still alive. We're thriving. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Like you already know, went to the Brewers game last night. Got back. We left a little early, I must admit. Shamefully, we left in the seventh inning because the Brewers couldn't hit all of a sudden, and then in the sixth inning they scored 6 runs. I'm like, all right, this is over. Let's get out of here. Got back home around 8:45, so not too bad. And fell asleep, and like you, had to wake up way too early. But let's jump right into it because I know you have a lot to say about this. Sam Darnold was traded from the Jets to the Carolina Panthers. My question for you is, Napo, does Sam Darnold make the Carolina Panthers a serious and real playoff contender in the NFC with that trade?
But before that, we have a little challenge for you.
So what we're going to do is we are not going to ask for you guys to subscribe and like the content. What we are going to do is we are going to challenge you to rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So pretty basic concept. I'm going to go rock, paper, scissors, shoot, put out whatever I want to put out. And if you lose, you got to like and subscribe. That's it. You can still like and subscribe if you won or if we tied. But if you lose, you got to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe button. All right, ready. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors. If you got paper, you got to subscribe.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
I don't know if it makes them a serious contender. I think that they will definitely be very competitive next season. I like the trade a lot. I'm sure Sam Darnold loves the trade.
Yes.
It didn't even seem like New York wanted him there, and they just, they kind of refused to just even tap into his potential. He's already on the best offense he's ever been with without even taking a snap. He's reunited with his friend, Robbie Anderson, who was they had a pretty good connection in New York. And that's what got Robbie Anderson that big contract from the Panthers, was his season with Sam Darnold on the Jets. I think it's definitely going to be an interesting quarterback battle between both Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold. I like Bridgewater, but he doesn't have that it factor. I'm not going to trust him to put a game on his shoulders. He's an average game manager. He's not even a good game manager. Alex Smith is a good game manager, or was a good game manager. He's kind of just average. His career high in passing touchdowns was 15, and that was last season with the Panthers. Darnold's career high in passing touchdowns is 19 with the Jets. I think with that offense that Sam Darnold has, he's going to have a decent O-line. Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore to throw to. He has targets. If he fails, he's a bust in my eyes. If he cannot at least be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback next year,
and he's got Matt Rule, which some think is a brilliant offensive mind too. So
if he can't succeed with all the cards in place, if he fails to win the quarterback competition, I don't know what to say at that point. I think he has a lot of talent, and it went to waste on the Jets. We have seen flashes of him being great, and if he can just bring 50% of that to the Panthers, I could see them being an 8-8 team, possibly pushing for a playoff spot. They have an up-and-coming defense. The offense is the question mark. It's going to come down to the quarterback play. But, Sam Darnold's only 23. I think he's younger than Joe Burrow.
He's younger than me.
Yeah, he's younger than me. He's 23, and he still has at least 2 more years left with the first-round option. So he still has a lot of time to progress.
Yep.
And if I'm the Panthers, I have to go with Sam Darnold just based off of potential and age, and then try and adjust Teddy's salary because he's going to be a fantastic. He's probably the.
I'm trading Teddy Bridgewater.
Who do you think he would be traded to?
Washington.
Washington? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that if they could adjust Teddy's salary to get him to take a pay cut or just, push money into the upcoming years with the restructure, I think that would be the best situation because Sam Darnold has missed 3+ games or 3 to 4 games every single season as a pro. And if you have Teddy Bridgewater back there, I would say you could get yourself 1 or 2 wins if he misses those 3. Granted, in 2019 he missed 3 games because of mono, and it wasn't a physical injury. But he does. I wouldn't say he's injury prone quite yet, but he does not stay healthy for a full 16 games. So having a good backup that knows the team is in their best interest. So I think they could, which would be interesting, do a Saints type thing with Drew Brees and Taysom Hill and utilize both Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater because Teddy's a pretty good athlete.
Don't like the idea.
No.
Okay. So the reason why I don't like the idea, and I'll answer the question of whether or not it makes them a contender in a minute. If you were done.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think Matt Rule, if you're watching this, start Sam Darnold. He gives you your best shot at succeeding.
I agree, and the reason why I don't like the idea of mixing the QBs is because Sam Darnold's a quarterback where this is the same guy where I think it was Monday Night Football game against the Patriots was saying, I'm seeing ghosts out there. Like the guy needs his confidence back. He needs a team that's going to completely 100% buy into him and everything that he is and throw the kitchen sink at him. You know what this reminds me of in a way? To a lesser degree. Remember when Brett Favre was traded to the Packers and the Packers were awful and the management and the coaches I learned later on in interviews with them were on their way out the door, John Gruden was saying. And the Packers hitched their ride to Brett Favre. And Brett Favre was a guy with a lot of promise. He was a young guy. He was a gunslinger. I would say Sam Darnold can be a gunslinger. I've seen throws from Sam Darnold where he can sling that thing. He has the arm talent. And I think it's similar here. I think the Panthers aren't exactly in like the same situation because Matt Rule is going to get a longer leash than 2 years, Yeah. But if the Panthers buy in 100% to Sam Darnold, I don't see with that offense and, that offensive coach and that franchise is no pushover. That, they've been pretty solid for as long as I can remember, back to the Jake Delhomme days. So, yeah, Jake Delhomme, Hall of Famer. No, but he was a solid QB, and I think that, Sam Darnold, does he make them a playoff contender? They were 5-11 last year with Teddy Bridgewater mostly as the QB. I'm going to say no. I think they could sneak into that 7th spot for the playoffs, but I think it's very unlikely. I mean, you look at the teams that the NFC West alone could have 4 teams make the playoffs. Like, really. I mean, let's just off the top of my head, you're going to have somebody out of the NFC West. I think it's going to be San Francisco. You're going to have the Packers out of the NFC North. You're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of the South. In my mind, is a no-doubter as well. And unless Brady gets hurt. And the East is going to be whoever's in the East, and the second team won't be a wild card, I don't believe. Probably not. So that right there is 4 teams already. Then you look at the NFC West, and the Rams are going to make it. The Rams will be in. I have no doubt about that. The Rams look good on paper. If you have been a Packers fan, you know Matt Stafford's no scrub. You know what I mean? We don't give them too many compliments because we just don't do that. But Matt Stafford's no scrub, So, and then you look at Seattle. If you've got Russell Wilson, you've got a chance. You just do. Russell Wilson makes magic happen. And Arizona's really good too. NFC North, you never know what kind of Minnesota Vikings team you're going to get year after year. Like they might start 5-0 and then lose 8 games like they did 2016 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? So you just never know what you're going to get out of there. I don't think it makes them a contender. I do think this is a step in the right direction. I do think, like you said, this is Sam Darnold's last chance, man. At least as a starter. He's not going to go somewhere else after this if he fails and be a starter right away.
No.
He's going to turn into Trevor Siemian. He's going to turn into, the Brock Osweilers, Josh Rosen. That's who he's going to be. He's going to be the guys that with a lot of promise, high in the draft, same draft as Josh Rosen, I believe, and Baker Mayfield and all those guys. And he's going to be a perennial backup until he eventually fades out of the league. Maybe catch his fire here and there. So this is a big moment for Sam Darnold, man. I think the Carolina Panthers have nothing to lose. Look, young guy, 23 years old, like we said, younger than us, lots of talent. If he doesn't work out, hey, we still got Teddy Bridgewater. I'd move off of him, but I don't think they're going to. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I think, like you said, game manager, that's pretty much what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a game manager. I liked his arm. I liked him a lot at Louisville. But we're going to see, man. We're going to see what Sam Darnold's made of. Like you said, he's got a ton of weapons.
It's also, they went 5-11 without Christian McCaffrey. Like, their best player was out for, I would say, I think 13 of the 16 games. He was hurt for like 8 weeks, came back, had like 170 total yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever, and then he got injured the next game. If he stays healthy, like that team is going to be incredibly competitive. If Sam Darnold plays up to his potential, they could be a double-digit win team if he plays up to his potential. But this is assuming I think Sam Darnold's ceiling is very, very high.
So do I.
But it's how high does he go?
It's just the conference, Napo, dude. The conference is so good. If this is the AFC only goes like maybe 4 teams deep that can actually win the Super Bowl. If you want to put who's out of the South? I mean, yeah, if you want to put yeah, right. Napa with the hot take. Jaguars out of the South.
Trevor Lawrence, baby.
If you want to put Indianapolis as one of those teams, maybe, but like Cleveland, maybe. Like in the AFC, the Panthers would have a chance, but so would a lot of teams. You know what I mean? But yeah, they do have Christian McCaffrey back, who is just an epically good running back. Sam Darnold, that'll be the best running back he probably ever plays with throughout his career. Just a multi-tool guy. Another multi-tool guy is a guy named Eddie Lacy for the Green Bay Packers. All right. And this has been like almost a month now since we've even talked about this guy, because he kind of got swept under the rug because he is a thing in the past. You know what I mean? And we go by the ratings, and you guys aren't exactly loving the Eddie Lacy games, but I don't blame you, because there's not a lot to pick from, which is why we are going to have another poll coming out on Twitter about which player we should do a top 5 games for. Napo, really quick, before we get into our number 1 Eddie Lacy game, any suggestions from you, my friend, about who you might want to do?
I think a fun one could be Thanasis Antetokounmpo, because he has had some pretty good games this season. We may be limited again with Eddie Lacy, but I think he could be a really fun one. Let's see. I would also say Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson would be a really
You would say Jordy Nelson, dude. Yeah, he's had huge games. You know what the thing is? A lot of those games that we'd be talking about would be games we covered with Aaron Rodgers, because I'm telling you, man, a lot of his biggest games, Jordy Nelson was having huge games with him. So definitely. Napo, though, let's get to it. Give me your number 1 game from Eddie Lacy of all time, the greatest Packer running back of 2016.
All right, so October 2nd, 2014, against the Vikings in a blowout win.
Yes,
Packers win 42-10. Eddie Lacy had 105 rushing yards on 13 carries and 2 touchdowns. So that's 8 yards per carry. The man should have been carrying the ball more. I don't know why he didn't. He also had 3 passes for 27 yards. So that is a total of 132 yards and 2 touchdowns on 16 touches. Only 16 touches he did that. Scary enough, he almost outplayed Aaron Rodgers in that game.
Wow.
Rodgers had 156 passing yards and 3 touchdowns on 17 attempts. They are very close. I don't know what the Vikings were doing where they lost a game where the starting quarterback threw 156 yards.
Who, do you know what year was that?
2014.
So that would have been, who's their quarterback back then? That was before
Christian
Kirk Cousins.
Ponder.
Was Christian Ponder still there?
I think that was the Christian Ponder, Joe Webb year.
I thought that was like 2012. Hold on, let's take a look at this. That would
have been Teddy Bridgewater, 2014.
Yes, Teddy Bridgewater and Sam freaking Bradford. That's who it was.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, it's one of his 2 multi-touchdown games, or one of 3 maybe, but I think
Sam Darnold.
Lacy had a very big game against the Vikings.
I am gonna go with playoff game, January 10th, 2016. Let me set the scene for you. Kirk Cousins is coming off the "you like that" crap that he was doing that everybody thought was so amazing. Like, oh wow, you beat the Packers, or what? I think you beat the Packers that game, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you beat the Packers one time. Good for you. So we were hyped up about that. Rodgers, trust me, man. Rodgers doesn't like that stuff. All right. The new host of Jeopardy, the greatest, out of respect, second greatest Jeopardy host of all time. Aaron Rodgers didn't like that. Okay, and he took it out on them, man. He had a great game in this playoff game. This was 1 week before our hearts got freaking smashed by the Cardinals in the playoffs. We all know what happened there. But Eddie Lacy was one of the stars of the show. 12 rushes, 63 yards, a touchdown. You know what stands out to me in like contrast to the offense now is like the running back just didn't get a lot of touches back then, man. Like, think about what it's like if Aaron Jones isn't getting the ball on the ground, he's at least active in the passing game.
Yeah.
Like I guess Eddie Lacy, you could say, well, he wasn't really a receiving back, but like you look at the like stats from other receiving running backs on the Packers in these times, like nothing. Like it really was so pass heavy. I can see why Rodgers got sick of McCarthy, but this is my number one, not because of the flashy numbers. He doesn't really have many flashy numbers. I'm taking circumstance, I'm taking situation, I'm taking revenge game, and that is my number one Eddie Lacy game of his career. Guys, that'll do it for the top 5 Eddie Lacy games of his career. We had a blast doing it. We hope you guys enjoyed it, even though I said you guys weren't. We hope you were. But again, let us know on the Twitter poll we will drop here shortly who you guys want to see next. Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Jordy Nelson, both great picks. I've seen Greg Jennings. I've seen Donald Driver. I saw Peyton Manning. Brett Favre could be up there too. I'd love to do a Brett Favre one because I already know what my number one game would be. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this segment. Be sure to tune in for our final segment, the Make the Cut segment, where we're going over. Just kidding. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss what makes the cut.